Hello everyone, this is Ashley Tucker. Thank you for joining me today. It has been a while since I've posted a video, but I am planning on starting back up. I want to post regularly again. I'm probably going to start posting every Friday for now. I think I need to do just one video a week so that I can keep up with it. And then if after a while that's going pretty smoothly, maybe I will increase to 2 videos a week. I'm going to be making 4 different cards today, and I'm really in the mood for fall, so I decided to make some really fall-themed cards. I'm using a die from Simon Says Stamp. This is the Slim Detail Petal Plate die. It is a very large surface area die, so when I put it through my die cutting machine, I make sure to put it in at an angle. This helps it to go through a little bit better. And because this is such a large die, it doesn't quite fit on my plates like this, so I do have to turn it around and run it again a second time in order to cut it completely. I picked out 4 different colors of cardstock to cut this die from. I chose Schoolhouse Red, Burnt Orange, Craft Cardstock, and Dark Chocolate Cardstock. Next, I grabbed this bottle of gold silk from Fun Stamper's Journey. I don't really know how to describe this. It is a paint and it has like the consistency of watercolor paint if it already has water added to it. It's a gold color and that's what I was looking for, and I'm just going to use a number 2 watercolor brush in order to tap some of that onto each of the backgrounds. To get this same kind of look, you could use any gold metallic watercolor. I just like to make sure that I use a small paintbrush because the smaller the paintbrush, the easier to control those splatters, and the splatters will be a little bit smaller, which is the kind of look that I want. While those were drying, I picked out the stamp set that I want to use for this project. I decided to pull out an older one from Simon Says Stamp. This is called Thanks and Leaves. The stamp set is a little bit yellow. That happens sometimes with older stamp sets, but they still work just fine. I picked out a bunch of the leaves from the stamp set and I put them all in my MISTI tool, and I'm going to stamp them in several different colors of Distress Oxide ink. I would have liked to stamp these in a dye ink, but I actually don't own a lot of dye inks. But that's about to change because Simon Says Stamp just came out with a ton of dye inks with their Stamptember release, and I ordered them, so I'm waiting for that package and I'm really excited to get it. I need a whole bunch of these leaves for my 4 cards, so I'm stamping them all in each of the different colors. The colors that I picked out are Rustic Wilderness, Bundled Sage, Seedless Preserves, Wild Honey, Barn Door, and Aged Mahogany. Once I stamped all of those out, I ran them through my Scan and Cut so that I could cut them all out really quickly. I picked out 4 different sentiment stamps from the same set, and I'm stamping those onto some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock with my VersaFine ONYX Black ink. Because of the loopy font on these sentiments, I thought that they would look a little bit better if they were fussy cut rather than cut into straight sentiment strips, so I'm very carefully going around those letters with my scissors. I created some card bases for each of my cards. These are Slimline cards, so the card bases are 3.5 by 8.5, and I'm using my ATG gun to adhere the backgrounds onto that. Now, I do want to say that the ATG tape didn't really work too well with these backgrounds. I think because they are so textured from the little dots in the design that they just didn't want to stick for some reason. So I did go back after this and I used a liquid adhesive just to make sure that those really stuck on there. That's the first time that I've ever really experienced that happening with my ATG Tape Runner. The backgrounds just kind of pulled right off. It was like I didn't even adhere them. And I think it's because maybe all of the paper residue from all of the little dots. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that that is the reason. As you can see, I'm popping up each of my sentiments on the cards, and I'm using some little foam tape squares to do that. And I'm kind of popping them up in the lower right hand corner of each of my cards. I grabbed all of the leaves that I cut out and I put them in a dish so that I wouldn't lose them, and then I arranged them on each of the 4 cards in a way that I like around the sentiments. And then while they were sitting on the card, I made sure to be very careful while I picked up each of them and glued them down with my liquid adhesive. I tried to make sure while arranging these that I didn't put 2 of the same color leaves right next to each other to mix things up and give it some variety. And then I also tried to pick out colors that I thought looked good with the background. For example, with the dark chocolate background, I thought that the colors green, brown, and yellow looked really good on that, so I didn't use any of the other color leaves on that background. To embellish these cards, I pulled out these half pearl embellishments. Now, these have been in my craft room for a long time, and I'm not exactly sure where I got them at this point, but you can get half pearl embellishments from a lot of different places, like Simon Says Stamp. The 2 colors of pearls that I'm using are a chocolate brown color and an ivory, and I just glued those down with my liquid adhesive. After placing those pearls, I realized that these cards needed a little bit more. There was kind of too much going on the right-hand side and not enough going on the left-hand side. Now, I did want quite a bit of negative space on each of these cards, but not quite that much. So in order to fix this, I grabbed my leftover leaves that I had. I still had quite a few, and I placed them kind of swishing off into the left-hand side for each of the card designs. And with just that added few leaves, it just made these so much better. And after that, these cards were all done, and I really hope that you liked them. I'm so happy to be back making videos. I hope that you're glad that I'm back, and I hope I'm not too rusty at this. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you took some inspiration from this and that it gave you some ideas for your own cards. I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I'll see you next time.